So the Iogen company has been perfecting the process of making biofuels. The cellulose has been produced from feedstocks such as sugarcane, which is used to manufacture ethanol. The sugarcane is a new alternative for the biofuel instead of corn. Sugarcane is being used so that more fuel can be created that does not compete with other edible plants such as corn. There is a dry pulp residue left after the extraction of the juice from the sugarcane. This is then used as fuel for electric generators and also for fuel for cars. So the following steps are for the production of ethanol. The first step is the pre-treatment phase, which is making the wood or straw-like material in the plant to break down. The next step is the cellulose breaking down by the process by the enzyme. While this happens, the larger molecules are turned into smaller sugar molecules. The third step is then the separation of the sugar solution from the residual material. The residual material is put through microbial fermentation of the sugar solution. This is distilled to produce roughly 95% pure alcohol. The final step is dehydration by molecular sieves to bring the ethanol concentration to over 99.5%. A multi-use fuel capable of being applied to many different applications. Cellulosic biofuel creates significantly less pollution than fossil fuel does. Originally, biofuel was manufactured from corn, which is part of a food stock needed for human consumption now. So in order to replace this, sugarcane is being used instead and is more sustainable and abundant resource. Sugarcane does not require nearly as many pesticides and herbicides as corn. In some cases, they would use more fuel for the cars, putting down herbicides than the fuels they harvest. This applied to growing corn. Sugarcane does not have this problem. It also has a much higher yield than corn. No fossil fuel fertilizers are used in growing sugarcane. The drawbacks of using biofuel is that sugarcane does compete with food that is grown for animal consumption, such as the grazing animals, like the horse and the cows and the sheep and the goats. These are some of the issues that must be addressed when producing biofuels.
The primary drivers for growth in the biofuel market is climate change and waste treatment. A solution for climate change that we are doing today is mixing biofuels with crude oil. This is an example of how we are adapting to the environment by mixing the renewable fuels with the oil. Biofuels can be harvested from many different plants, since cellulose is the main building blocks of plants. The harvesting of waste products from the food sector is a large area where energy can be produced from the harvesting of plant residue. This also creates new opportunities for employment in the agricultural sector. A drawback is the high initial investment and installation costs for the biofuels facility. The MIT Technology Review has said this about the fall of biofuels. In the US, there were more than 100 biofuel factories, mostly in corn-growing states of Iowa, Minnesota, and Illinois. They were produced 6.4 billion gallons of ethanol this year, and another 74 facilities are under construction. The high oil prices drive increased products of biofuels. Then the prices of barrels go down to make the biofuels less affordable. Then the market becomes oversupplied. This causes the prices of imported oil to become less than the price of biofuels. The market becomes very oversaturated because of the rise and fall of the oil prices. Another area of growth is in the transportation sector, since there is an incredible hike in crude oil prices and increased greenhouse gas emissions. There is encouraging government institutions to promote consumption of bioethanol. There is a ban on petrol in many countries, like Norway, who will be banning petrol or diesel by 2025. As you can see, there is a lot of activity in the biofuels market, but it is unstable since the prices of oil tend to rise and fall each year.